will never speak your name again, murderers. You will never get anything out of me again in your life.
Emotional testimony today as convicted killer Lorie Vallow Daybell, the so-called doomsday mom, was sentenced in a Phoenix courtroom. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to West Coast Wrap. I'm Alex Savage. For members of Daybell's family, today was one more step toward closure. Daybell was sentenced to 2 consecutive life terms after being found guilty in 2 Arizona trials, one for conspiring to murder her ex-husband, the other for attempting to kill another relative. Before this case began, she had already been convicted of killing her 2 youngest children. Fox 10's Justin Lum has a closer look tonight at what unfolded in court.
Charles Vallow's sister, Kay Woodcock, left it all in the courtroom.
You are not exalted. You are not translated. You are a manipulator, a parasite, and a coward.
Addressing the infamous Lorie Daybell, the woman who conspired with her late brother Alex Cox to shoot and kill Charles back in July of 2019 after an alleged fight at their Chandler home. Months later in December, Kay's biological grandson, J.J. Vallow, a 7-year-old boy with autism, was officially reported missing, along with his big sister, 16-year-old Tylee Ryan. Years ago, Kay entrusted her brother Charles and his then-wife Lorie to adopt JJ and give him a better life. In June 2020, authorities discovered the remains of JJ and Tylee on the Idaho property of Chad Daybell, now Lorie's husband. The couple eventually convicted of killing Lorie's children and plotting the murder of Chad's first wife, Tammy Daybell.
I was convicted in the media long before I went to trial. We all know that there was no way for me to come to Arizona and get a fair, impartial, or speedy trial. And now that fact has been proven.
It wasn't the media. It was 2 juries in Idaho finding Lorie and Chad guilty after prosecutors presented overwhelming evidence showing that the newlyweds justified violence with their religion, deciding who was light and dark. Charles was deemed a zombie who had a $1 million life insurance policy.
To Charles's family, I just wanted to share with you that I'm sorry for your loss. Charles seemed like a great all-around guy.
Months before his murder, he made his sister Kay the policy's new beneficiary, removing Lorie.
He and I share the same birthday, so I'll remember him on my birthday.
Judge Justin Boreski becoming emotional now that he's done with Daybell.
You've left a wake of destruction, stretching from Louisiana, across Texas, Arizona, up to Idaho and back again.
2 murder conspiracies and now 2 more life sentences, and extradition back to an Idaho prison in the near future.
But it will take an act of God for you to go free.
Lorie, rot in prison.
And that was Fox 10's Justin Lum reporting tonight from Phoenix. Daybell is already serving life in prison without parole, while Chad Daybell was sentenced to death for the 3 murders. Lorie Daybell is expected to be extradited now back to Idaho within 30 days of her sentencing. We turn now to New Mexico, where one person is dead tonight and another is injured after a shooting this afternoon inside a dorm room on the University of New Mexico campus. And just a short time ago, the Valencia County Sheriff's Office announced that one person has been taken into custody in connection with the shooting. Earlier in the day, campus police say they got a call from a student at one of the student housing centers on campus. The gunfire prompted hundreds of students to evacuate that dorm building, and the campus was shut down and a shelter in place was issued for much of the day as law enforcement moved in and searched for that suspect. The 2 people who were shot were visiting the campus at the time, and authorities say they were not students. Tonight, it is unclear what relationship they had with the suspected shooter. Now we turn to Nevada, where investigators tonight are trying to figure out what caused a large fire that burned through a strip mall right near the UNLV campus today. Authorities say that fire destroyed a two-story commercial building and damaged at least 8 businesses. You see the flames coming from the building. The huge plume of black smoke filled the air as the fire tore through those buildings. This started just after 8 o'clock this morning. Firefighters say no one was hurt here, and they also noted that the building had no sprinkler system installed in it. A procession was held earlier today for 3 LA County Sheriff's deputies who were all killed in an explosion last week. Law enforcement officers, firefighters, and others gathered along the route from the coroner's office to a mortuary in Covina, which is east of LA. 3 white hearses carried the deputies who were killed at a training facility in East LA. They were moving grenades that they thought were inert. Tonight, the investigation continues into exactly what led up to that deadly blast. California Senator Alex Padilla is planning to introduce a bill next week that would ease immigrant residency rules here in the U.S. Senator Padilla announced the legislation today in Los Angeles. He says it would provide a pathway to citizenship for millions of undocumented immigrants. The bill is dubbed Renewing Immigration Provisions of the Immigration Act of 1929. It would provide access to lawful permanent resident status by advancing the date for eligibility under the immigration registry. Senator Padilla says the current 1972 date is now so far in the past that very few people are eligible.
If you have lived here for 7 years or more, contributed to the community for years, and you don't have a criminal record, then yes, you deserve a pathway to legalization. It's that simple.
Senator Padilla says the change would provide a pathway to a green card for DACA recipients as well as those who have temporary protective status. Since its creation back in 1929, Congress has advanced the registry date 4 different times, most recently back in 1986, when the date had been set at January 1st of 1972. We have an update now on an immigration arrest that sparked controversy in Oregon. It's a story we brought you here on West Coast Wrap. An Iranian man taken into custody right outside of a daycare center near Portland, accused of overstaying his visa. Now, new video shows federal agents pulling the man over while his son is inside the car. Fox 12's Michaela Armstrong has the details on what the video shows.
A normal day turned upside down.
Hello, sir.
How are we doing today?
Good, thank you so much.
You mind if I grab your ID from you? Go ahead and roll your window all the way down.
Why? What's going on?
Go ahead and roll your window all the way down.
I have a baby in the car.
That's okay. That's okay.
Yeah.
As 38-year-old chiropractor Mahdi Khanbabazadeh was pulled over by ICE agents while dropping his child off at daycare. According to ICE, he had overstayed the term of his visa.
That's your ID.
Yeah, that's funny.
Where are you heading?
Daycare.
I'm sorry?
Daycare.
Okay.
He gives them the ID, and then the video jumps from 8:17 a.m. to 8:32 a.m., where you see Khanbabazadeh consoling his son.
Mommy's coming now. Okay?
The video then jumps to 8:42 a.m., where things escalate. According to ICE, Khanbabazadeh stopped cooperating, resisted arrest, and refused to exit his vehicle, resulting in ICE officers making entry by breaking one of his windows. ICE said his child was not harmed.
I'm getting out. Well, you should have done it already.
This moment has sparked major controversy, and Marco Mejia of the Deportation Defense Coalition says it is traumatic for immigrant communities to witness.
For me, it's very traumatic. I am a migrant too, and I came from a country where I grew up in with dictatorships. So that is a trauma that they create into this family.
Once the window is broken and Khanbabazadeh is asked to step out of the car, he is arrested, and the moment is met with frustration by not only him, but also a witness.
This is not okay, and no one here will identify themselves to me.
If they keep doing this, they are creating a generation of people that are going to be traumatized and very angry about what the government is doing.
Khanbabazadeh is now detained in an ICE facility in Tacoma and is scheduled for a bond hearing Thursday. In studio, Michaela Armstrong, Fox 12 Oregon.
Some Democratic lawmakers from Texas are in Sacramento as Republicans back in their home state continue to debate some significant redistricting decisions. That group spoke at the California State Capitol this afternoon after a closed-door meeting. Texas Governor Greg Abbott has called a special session for the Republican-controlled legislature there to redraw district lines. One Texas Democrat said the GOP wants to dilute the growing influence of communities of color. California Governor Gavin Newsom says his state is considering taking up its own redistricting process.
This is a fluid conversation that frankly came in reaction to the phone call from Donald Trump to Greg Abbott in Texas and the break the glass moment we're in. And look, this is existential. This is real life. Everything's on the line here.
Another Texas delegation headed to Illinois is going to meet with Governor J.B. Pritzker there, who has said that his state is also considering redrawing its congressional maps. A number of Planned Parenthood locations are closing across Northern California following cuts to their federal funding. 5 Northern California Planned Parenthood health centers are closing, including locations in San Mateo and Gilroy in the Bay Area. Together, those clinics provided care for more than 22,000 patients last year. The closures come after President Trump's budget bill became law earlier this month, pulling $300 million in federal funding from Planned Parenthood across the country. Planned Parenthood has since sued the Trump administration. A district court issued an injunction earlier this week granting relief to some Planned Parenthood locations, but none that provide abortions.
Maybe the First Circuit will restore the funding to the other Planned Parenthood affiliates, but I wouldn't put much stock in the Supreme Court after that, given the way the Supreme Court has been so quick to intervene in cases, putting their thumbs on the scale for the Trump administration.
Planned Parenthood says abortions make up less than 10% of their services. California Governor Gavin Newsom's office is responding, saying in part, they're doing what they can to, quote, protect access to care. A utility company in Southern California is now offering to pay L.A. area wildfire victims for damages in order to avoid legal action. Southern California Edison says it will launch a new wildfire recovery compensation program to help victims of the devastating Eaton fire. The program will give direct payments for a wide range of damages, including property loss, injuries, and deaths. The move comes as Southern California Edison faces several lawsuits alleging its equipment sparked the January fire that killed 19 people and destroyed more than 9,000 homes. Also tonight, L.A. area wildfire victims are still waiting on relief after that star-studded Fire Aid benefit concert that was held back in January. The event raised about $100 million for those affected by the wildfires, but many victims say they have yet to see any payments. So far, roughly $75 million has gone out to 188 nonprofits, according to our sister station in L.A. While some organizations had specific numbers on how many fire victims they served, others could not offer those figures or declined to respond. At least $6.5 million in donated money also went to L.A. County government programs.
I have not seen any benefit from the fire aid money, and I'm very involved, nor my friends and neighbors.
I was actually expecting some type of reach out or something to let us know that we're here to help you. And I've been searching and trying to figure that out since.
Fire Aid told our sister station, Fox 11 in Los Angeles, that it does not have the capability to make direct payments, and that was never the plan. Some lawmakers have now called for an investigation. Coming up tonight here on West Coast Wrap, a flight leaving Southern California today reportedly had to nosedive several hundred feet just after takeoff. We'll hear from one passenger who was on board who tells us about those terrifying moments. Also in Arizona, mother and son forced to leave the home they've been in for 40 years. The destruction left behind after the house was hit by a monsoon storm this week.
And not only have we had rain in the desert, but I'll talk about that right there, the San Francisco Bay Area and what you need to know about their weekend forecast. The West Coast Wrap will continue after this fast Fox break.
In Southern California, a Southwest Airlines flight suddenly nosedived over 400 feet in order to avoid colliding with another plane. This all happened this afternoon, just about 6 minutes after that Southwest flight took off from Hollywood Burbank Airport heading to Las Vegas. Data from Flight Radar 24 shows the plane abruptly descended from more than 14,000 feet down to about 13,600 feet. The pilot did announce to the cabin that that maneuver was done to avoid a mid-air collision. One passenger on that flight said she had taken that same flight dozens of times before and has experienced turbulence, but nothing like this.
About 10 minutes into the flight, we plummeted pretty far, and I looked around and everyone's like, okay, that's normal. And then within 2 seconds, it felt like the ride Tower of Terror where we fell. I mean, it felt like 20, 30 feet in the air, and the screaming, it was terrifying. We really thought we were plummeting to a plane crash. After everyone was shaken up for a couple of seconds, we realized that the flight attendant had hit her head. It felt like we were flying in the air.
Just a frightening situation for everyone on board. Southwest did put out a statement that said, in part, quote, the crew of Southwest Flight 1496 responded to 2 onboard traffic alerts Friday afternoon while climbing out of Burbank, California, requiring them to climb and descend to comply with the alerts. The flight continued to Las Vegas, where it landed uneventfully. Southwest is engaged with the Federal Aviation Administration to further understand the circumstances. The statement also said that those 2 flight attendants were on board and treated for injuries. The flight landed in Vegas just after 12:30 this afternoon. Tonight, we're hearing from an Arizona family whose home was destroyed during a powerful monsoon storm this week. Wind gusts ripped off their roof while they were inside. As Fox 10's Lindsay Regas explains, the damage was so bad the family can no longer live there.
The Crisco family has called this place home for 40 years. It was destroyed by a strong storm on Tuesday.
It really got bad when the wind started blowing, because I thought it was, it was so hard that I thought the rain was actually going and the wind was going to break the windows.
What happened next was even worse. Frances Crisco was home with her autistic grandson when strong winds ripped her roof off.
I went to the garage to get a bucket to put it so it wouldn't ruin the carpet. And I seen it go over on the garage, and it was a loud.
The damage doesn't stop there.
So this is the kitchen. The roof in here came down first. And as you could see outside up in here.
Damage in the kitchen, living room, and garage.
I just got really scared about it, and I got soaked and wet.
Water got everywhere, destroying their furniture and personal belongings.
Dish came down a couple hours later, and you can see there's a big hole right there.
Thankfully, nobody was hurt.
It's very hard. It's wonder what I'm going to do next. Like I said, I don't have nothing in there. Everything is going to be thrown out, basically.
And that was Fox 10's Lindsay Regas reporting tonight. A GoFundMe has been set up to help that family as they try to get back on their feet. All right, let's shift now and talk about our weather here in the West. And this is a live look at downtown Phoenix. A gorgeous shot here as the sun is setting here. That storm that we mentioned there, that monsoon storm earlier in the week, has moved on. And now an excessive heat warning is in effect for much of Arizona, as you would expect here in late July. Let's bring in KTVU meteorologist Roberta Gonzalez with a look at our West Coast forecast. Boy, Roberta, you know better than anyone, those monsoon storms in Arizona, they are serious stuff.
Yes, and they were late arriving, Alex, for this time of the year. But when they finally did, boy, they were powerful and lots of gusty winds associated with it. Not so much the case with this particular system that blew through just this afternoon. And it's now hightailing its way, lifting up in a northerly fashion towards Flagstaff, which, by the way, has the highest elevation for a city in the U.S. at 7,000 feet. So they're welcoming that moisture without the thunderstorm activity in throughout the Coconino National Forest. Meanwhile, from the desert to the mountains, conditions, thunderstorm activity, lots of dry lightning as well. So we're keeping a watchful eye on the South Lake Tahoe forecast because, boy, it has been lit up all day long. And this activity is swirling in a counterclockwise fashion, inundating the Mount Shasta area of California. Now, look at all those lightning strikes. And this is why the National Weather Service has issued a red flag warning in effect for much of the extreme northern portion of the state of California, even nicking the Bay Area right there around Lake County. This is until 11 o'clock tonight. But I got to tell you, I wouldn't be surprised if they extend that warning through the weekend. Now, look at the beautiful altocumulus clouds over Phoenix at this hour. The temperature there today at 109. Now it's still flirting with triple digits. And we head to Santa Monica, where the high temperature today was only 69, but 11 miles more inland in Los Angeles, 80 degrees. But that cool 69 did not keep people off the beaches. San Francisco, the marine layer is already pushing on shore, making tracks towards the inland areas. A high temperature there today, 63. Remember, in the Bay Area, in the city of San Francisco, it is the coolest time of the year. It was 3 degrees off its average high of 66. And then we head to Seattle, where the average high is 81, but instead today, 71 degrees. Other notable numbers, it was 100 degrees evenly in Las Vegas, where typically you should be at 104 for this time of the year. 86 degrees in Sacramento, where typically you're in the low 90s. It was 94 degrees in Redding today, and now thunderstorm activity invading that area. Marine layer hugs the entire state of California, all the way up into the Medford area overnight, then backing off. 61 degrees right now in the Bay Area, 91 degrees in Salt Lake City. What you got today is what you're going to see again tomorrow throughout much of the West Coast. In fact, let's go ahead and put those temperatures up for you. Again, 70s, mild in Seattle, pretty close to seasonal in the city of San Francisco, slightly below average in Los Angeles, spot on in Denver, and it's summertime in Phoenix. Alex?
Yep, sure looks like it. Roberta, thank you. Coming up tonight here on West Coast Wrap, tributes continue coming in tonight for Hulk Hogan. After the break, we'll hear from TMZ about how his friend Sylvester Stallone is honoring the memory of the legendary wrestler who died this week. Finally tonight, Hollywood star Sylvester Stallone is sharing his memories of Hulk Hogan following the death of the legendary wrestler this week. Stallone told TMZ that his Rocky III co-star was always a force to be reckoned with. He also said despite the image of all of his strength and might, Hogan was a very gentle and intelligent man. TMZ producer Michael Babcock says Stallone recounted to him just how nervous he was on the set of Rocky III that Hogan might hurt him.
But he said Hulk just had a way of making these moves look so real, but, sort of almost laying him down like a feather and not actually hurting Hulk or not actually hurting Sylvester Stallone. And again, you've got these two icons who over, decades and decades maintained a friendship. And you could really hear the hurt in Sly's voice when he talked about his now late friend.
And Sylvester Stallone also told TMZ that out of all the times he's been punched in his life, he says no one threw a more accurate punch than Hulk Hogan did. All right, that does it for West Coast Wrap tonight. We appreciate you watching. As always, we'll leave you here with this gorgeous live look at the beach in Santa Cruz. Have a great night.